Now it's time for part 2 of the prologue from the Canterbury Tales. Next morning we were stumbling about the yard in the cold and dark, in a welter of horses and a net of rain. A shape I had mistaken for the gatepost, and who proved to be the miller, cursed the weather and wished himself home in bed. "'Tis naught but God's holy water to bless us on our way," said the gentle voice of the ploughman, as he packed straw under his saddle in place of a rug. I began to work out who everybody was and which of the pilgrims were travelling together. The parson who disapproved of stories was the ploughman's brother. The noisy, evil-smelling individual with the horrible face was also a religious gentleman, a summoner, travelling with a pale, giggling pardoner who had long, sparse blonde hair. The biggest party was made up of master craftsmen. Suspicious of Kent's inns, they had even brought along their own cook, a man stuffed as full of recipes as a suckling pig with apples. To hear him talk made your mouth water. If he had just stopped drinking and picking that sore on his leg, I might have employed him myself. From the tangle of reins I sorted out my own, mounted, dismounted, told the ship's captain he was on my horse, and helped him onto his. Very soon, like a row of chessmen escaping from the chessboard, we ambled off the paved yard and into the quagmire of the Drovers' Road. Gradually, as the light strengthened, I could make out the different colours of clothes, the different quality of the horses, the pale, bleary faces of the silent riders. Beside me, the knight's chainmail began to shine like fishes' scales in the half-light. Suddenly, through the mist, loomed a horrible sight, a massive dark shape bristling all over with long curved spines. It was shuffling towards us, enveloped in a smell as thick as fog. I reined in. The knight beside me gave a great round laugh that set his chain shirt clanking. "You city people! Anyone would think you'd never seen a herd of cows before." Then a steer raised its curved horns and bellows. The drovers with their long whips emerged from the mist, and the herd swept past and between us as if we were ghosts. I was all set to run home and hide under the bed, I admitted, laughing shamefacedly. I'm no St. George when it comes to fighting dragons. I never could see the point in gallantry. Oh, I could have kicked myself. The knight had spent most of his life fighting in one war or another. But he smiled generously and said, "I agree, Master Chaucer. There's far too much unnecessary killing nowadays among these fashionable young knights. Life's too precious. Fights to the death ought to be over matters of life or death. That's my opinion. I never had much time for Palamon and Arcite." "Who?" Then Harry interrupted. He was holding out a bundle of straws to each rider, saying, "Take one, take a straw." "What's this for?" I asked, pulling out the long straw. "You're all so modest, I can't get anyone to tell the first story, so we're drawing straws. The person who draws the short straw tells the first story." "Oh dear," said the knight, holding up the short straw. "I'm not sure I know any stories." His face began to redden with shyness as the riders surrounded him, gaped at him expectantly. "What about Palamon and Arcite?" I suggested. "Ah, yes, just so. Right." He cleared his throat, looked around him with a plea for patience, and began. The first unwilling entrant in our competition.